Welcome back to Big Sound. You're with AAA Backstage. We're here at the Wickham, and I'm joined by Eliott. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Big Sound.
Thanks for having me.
Enjoying Big Sound so far?
Yeah, I'm loving it. I've only been here a day, but yeah, my show last night was really positive, and I'm really happy with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I guess this would be your first Big Sound, correct?
First Big Sound, yes.
Yeah. And overwhelming, positive. What's your thoughts so far?
I think it's super positive. Like, you run into so many people you kind of know in the street, and it's just like a good community of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really positive.
I wanted to quickly ask about how it is working with LUCIANBLOMKAMP. I know you've been on his records, and he's produced some of your tracks too. So how did that collaboration come to be, and what's it like working with him in the studio?
Yeah, so we actually have the same management, so that's kind of how we came to meet. And yeah, we did our first session. Oh, it would have been one of my very first like collabs, and he was just the loveliest guy. I was just in his house in Melbourne and in his home studio, and he's just literally the nicest guy you've ever met, and just crazy talented. So it was super easy, and we actually wrote his single "Doing This For You," so that's out now. But it was completely different, and he's kind of put his own spin on it now. But yeah.
So when you got into his home studio, was there a concerted effort to, we're going to write a single, or we're just going to write, or it just came to be?
Like, let's just try and do something like a song today. It wasn't like we have to get this amazing single out. Yeah, it was just like, let's see what we can do, and yeah, that's kind of what happened. Yeah.
Is there any sort of sessions that came, like work that came from that session that's still to come, or on the back burner, or
from that particular session with him?
Yeah, I mean, like from that session, or have you planned future sessions with him? And
no, I think he's super busy at the moment, like working on other people's stuff, but hopefully I get to work with him again. It's just everyone's so busy, and but yeah, we worked on Over and Over as well. And so we did that with Jack Grace.
That was going to be my next question. Yeah, also working with Jack Grace. I believe he co-wrote the single.
Co-wrote the single.
Yeah, so
he
again,
co-wrote my whole EP. So
right.
Yeah.
So how did that? Is he a good friend or something?
Okay. So this I moved to Sydney a few years ago, and kind of started getting into the music industry world, and I was put in my first ever co-writing session, and it happened to be with Jack Grace, and we actually wrote. I just moved to the Blue Mountains from Melbourne, and we wrote "Figure It Out," which is my debut single, and yeah, he was only meant to do. I think we were meant to do one song together. Ended up doing like 6, and now I'm actually going to Paris in a few weeks to write for 2 weeks with him. So
really?
Yeah.
Because he lives there, correct?
He lives there. Yeah. So that'll be a pretty cool experience, but yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, like you said, you started your music career not too long ago. Is this like brand new, or did you have a project before the Eliott project?
The Eliott project is probably my first kind of. Well, I mean, before I had the Eliott project, I was doing lots of like cover gigs and singing at weddings, and I wasn't really intending on having music as a career until like someone kind of sat me down and told me that I could actually do it. So yeah.
So it's interesting that with all these co-writers, collabs, and stuff like that, your sound can really go from one extreme to the other, which I really like. Something like Over and Over, which has a really good production beat and stuff like that. Another song like Calling, which is just very minimal, you and a piano, something like that. Is there maybe a preferred method that you like to come in to write a song, and then it further expands in the studio, or do you like having both versions of the song? You know what I mean?
I think it just depends who you're working with, and like I just think because Jack produced both of those songs, and I just think we clicked, and he kind of got what direction I wanted to go in. So I think if you kind of form a relationship with another artist first, then that's always the key to a good song.
yeah, for sure. And how does that, what about translating live? Like, I'm eventually going to see you later tonight, and I can't wait to see it, but for someone who's yet to see the Eliott sort of show, does it go from one extreme to the other, or is it a nice flow?
I like to think, I wouldn't say like extreme, but yeah, there's a few songs where they're a bit, it's just like me playing a guitar, just really simple, really stripped back. And then we've got like Over and Over, which has heaps of production. I've got a drummer and a keyboard player. So yeah, I like to keep a bit of variety in the set.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
Keep drawing them back in.
Yeah, and then like you said, this is still pretty new and fresh to you. You're killing it, and then you had your first headline tour with a couple sold out dates, which is huge.
Yeah.
How was it? A bit daunting, maybe playing by yourself for the first time, or?
I was shitting myself.
Yeah.
But just like that first show, I was so nervous before it, and then it was just the biggest high. Like, there's nothing better than singing to a crowd of people who are there to listen to you and who are just like, their eyes are on you and they're listening to every word. So yeah, it was a really beautiful experience, I think.
Did you have a couple of people like singing the words back to you?
Yeah, I think mostly they were my friends, but yeah, a lot of people singing Over and Over at the end. But yeah, that was crazy.
And what about, I think you're still on tour with No Mono?
Yes.
Do you think you've kind of grown a bit on the live stage, touring with those guys, touring places you've never sort of been before?
Yeah, definitely. So we've done 2 shows now, Brisbane and Adelaide. And yeah, it's always going to be different wherever you play. Sometimes the sound can go wrong and you just got to kind of learn from everything. So it's been a big learning experience for me, being the support act. And yeah, but they're just the most amazing musicians, and they're real musicians, and it's just so lovely to watch. Like,
Eliott, thank you so much for joining me. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Big Sound, and we can't wait to see you more in the future, obviously. All right, thank you so much.